join me for another Kill It With Fire review. And today I will be metaphorically burning Winchester. Not only is this a Kill It With Fire review, but this video is starting off with Ashley's alcoholic tip of the day. Where was I going with this? Right, so my alcoholic tip of the day is don't go into this sober. Be as responsibly drunk as you possibly can, because that just might make this easier to watch. Or you get so drunk that you wake up the next day and you don't remember having watched any of it, and then it's you're spared. You know? You're spared. You don't have to suffer. I am here for you. I am here for you. And the booze. And together, we will help you get through this movie. But I should probably do the review now. But one more for the road. Winchester, also known as Winchester, the house that ghosts built, or as I like to call it, Winchester, the movie that lies built, is a 2018 American-Australian, damn you Australia, supernatural horror film directed by Michael and Peter Spierig and written by Tom Vaughan and the Spierig brothers. It follows Sarah Winchester as she is haunted by spirits inside her San Jose mansion in 1906. I haven't been so angry at a movie since Alien Covenant. While I was angry at the film for failing to answer any questions created from the previous installment or to truly link them together, this film angers me by not just being downright bad, but for continuously trying to convince the audience that this movie is based on facts, when even the slightest bit of research done by even the most dim-witted of people could tell you that 90% of this movie is a work of fiction. I love fantasy, I love horror, and when I hear a film say it's based on or inspired by true events, that sends up a lot of red flags for me. Now, sometimes that sales pitch is true, and when a movie does try very hard to tell a true story, it's both incredible and impressive. This, however, did not do that. Basically, this film is just one big lie, and a poorly told lie at that. I honestly believe the writers googled Winchester Mystery House, read its Wikipedia page, and went off that while making up the rest. One can call it creative liberties, but their liberties were far from creative and more just utterly idiotic. For starters, while this movie is set in the Winchester Mystery House, the story does not actually follow Sarah Winchester as it claims to. Our lead is actually psychologist Eric Price, played by Jason Clarke. His character is brought in to assess the mental stability of Sarah Winchester and finds himself entangled in the supernatural events that surround the Winchester house. We learn his backstory, his emotional and mental state, and essentially we are following him as each moment of the movie occurs. Sarah Winchester, played by Helen Mirren, honestly does very little. Very little is also established about her, and what is established is done so in one short description given to the good doctor by a man who works for her company. What I'm saying is, the posters and synopsis are false advertising because what they claim to sell are not what this movie focuses on at all. Admittedly, I jumped twice. Was it because I was scared? God, no. I jumped because I was surprised this movie was actually doing something. Both times were only in the first 20 minutes, and after that, the only movement I was making was trying not to laugh and trying not to punch the screen. The movie creates its own mythology, which I have no problem with. What I have a problem with is bad mythology that makes zero sense and comes across as extremely lazy script work. I can blame the script because I did note that many times the characters were repeating themselves on a loop. The dialogue was word salad, same thing being said, just the words rearranged to appear as though something new was being said. Just how stupid do they think the audience is? I'd call that insulting, but back to the mythology. This movie has taken it upon itself to establish Sarah Winchester as a medium for the spirits of those who died at the Barrel of Winchester rifles, while the real-life false narrative about Sarah Winchester was that a medium told her to build a house and if she stopped she'd die. This film takes it further and says she is building a house where each room is for a specific spirit, and once the spirit has found peace, they tear the room down and start again. But until such time, the rooms remained locked with 13 nails. Someone explained to me how a ghost can find peace by being trapped in a room for all eternity. How does one come up with such a concept? Sarah Winchester did have a fascination with the number 13, but for philosophical and mathematical reasons, and not spiritual ones as people love to claim. When it comes to horror, especially supernatural horror, you need to find that one nugget that is relatable and realistic. If you don't have that, then the audience won't be engaged and you won't be able to get them to invest in what you're saying. Not everyone, but most people. There is nothing realistic or relatable about this film! Winchester has about 20 different random plot points. It kills or tries to utilize characters that are either poorly established or not established at all. Then of course it all comes down to one particular pissed off ghost wanting revenge on someone who has nothing to do with his death and is killed by a Winchester bullet. Why is this a problem? Well, simply because you can't shoot and kill a ghost because they're already dead and transparent. Duh! Nothing about this plot makes sense. It tries to, but then starts off in one direction before quickly moving in a different direction, and then it finds itself all over the map. The movie didn't really attempt to replicate the house. I doubt it could have, of course. The house is an architectural marvel with no known blueprints on record, but fact is the movie didn't even try. It made 2 obscure references to its unique architectural style, but after that we just have a giant house with a lot of corridors and a lot of locked up rooms, which is not even close to what the Winchester house was. The performances in this movie are good, but they don't make up for a poor plot. The setup was weak, as are its characters, especially that of Sarah Winchester. Even with the fabulous Helen Mirren in the role, the character does not remotely stand out. The end of the movie tries to list 3 facts about the events of the movie, 2/3 of which are entirely false, and as I've said, if the writers looked beyond Wikipedia, they would know that. First, it states the 1906 San Francisco earthquake was the worst in US history. This is true. Roughly 3,000 died as a result of this disaster, but what does that have to do with the movie? Is there an earthquake during the movie? Yes, there is, but the movie never announces it as an earthquake. The quake occurs during a paranormal onslaught from a hostile ghost, which makes the earthquake appear to be the actions of a pissed off ghost attacking the house and not a natural disaster, which it was. So stating this fact at the end is just pointless. It then states that Sarah Winchester continued to build her house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week up until her death in 1922. While yes, she continued to build until her death in 22, it has been proven repeatedly that she never had workers work 24/7. Lastly, it states, the Winchester house remains one of the most haunted mansions in North America. This is false. The house has been studied numerous times over many decades and no one has been able to find evidence to support such a statement. It is just a sales pitch to bring tourists to the location. This movie gets even the most basic of facts wrong. While sticking to its cursed narrative, it states that first Sarah lost her husband of tuberculosis, true, and then her infant daughter Annie. This is incorrect. Sarah's daughter died in 1866, just 40 days after her birth, and her husband died 15 years later. Why am I mentioning all this? Simply because the movie continues to say it is based on fact, even going so far as to write dot points at the end of the movie, and yet it can't even get the most basic of facts correct. If you wish to learn more about the facts and fictions of Sarah Winchester and the Winchester Mystery House, then please watch my YouTube video where I attempt to shed some light on the matter. You will find the link to that video in the description box below. Winchester is a poorly written, over-exaggerated, over-dramatized fictional story with no substance. It places all its focus in all the wrong places and fails to truly establish a real story that's worth following. It fails to live up to the supernatural horror genre of which it chooses to associate itself with, and comes off as a throwaway film for a reputable actress such as Helen Mirren. No love or care was put into this, and each aspect feels as though the movie believes the audience are a bunch of mindless idiots too stupid to realize they're being ripped off. Well, the audience is smarter than you think, and they weren't buying what you were selling. If I had ever gone to the movies to see this, I probably would have tracked down the Spierig brothers and demanded my money back. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're not already, then please subscribe and click that bell so you'll be notified of future videos. By all means, comment down below and share your thoughts on the movie, and try to remember these are just my opinions, so if you don't agree with them or don't agree with the opinions you find in the comments, there is no reason to be nasty. We're all just here to have a good time, so be good to one another, and until next time, bye.
When the room is quiet, the daylight almost gone, it seems there's something I should